But if I can use my mind to create that higher income and divert the energy that I would have expended on physical labor through to mental labor to form a system that can allow me to then earn an income from a laptop where I can be, or even a phone on the other side of the planet in a warmer country, sitting by the pool with my friends, family, children, whatever, you can see why people are picking it, right? And I think you aren't capped by your wage or your hours that you can put in. Instead, your earnings grow in direct proportion to your business's success, how much value you can add to the marketplace. So it's not just a job replacement, it's an opportunity to create a significant financial wealth that can change the course of your life and your family's life as well.
Yeah, that applies broadly to 9-to-5 jobs. If you're employed or self-employed, but you're trading your time for money, there's always a cap to how much you can earn. But when you tie your income to the profits of a business, that's when you remove the cap and it suddenly becomes limitless. As long as you continue to improve the business and improve the value that you can provide to the market as a whole, your income will drastically increase as well.
Yeah, exactly. And I think with online businesses, you're not necessarily replacing the trades by creating online businesses, because the trades still exist. They will still need to exist for many years to come. But I guess this is just offering an alternative at a time in somebody's life who might be listening to this right now where they think, I really need an out. I really need a route out, an exit plan, some kind of alternative income source that gives me a more comfortable path for people who are in a position where their body or their finances or, their distance from loved ones simply can't sustain the physical demands of working in a manual labor job like that anymore. So I think there's almost this like awakening in society. It's evolving. And with the advent of the internet, people are starting to realize, and I think really started to realize a long time ago, but are now the knowledge is like filtering through, not just to the entrepreneur, the e-commerce crowd, but it's actually getting out to people who maybe had never even heard of this concept or business model years ago, who are now realizing that, hang on a second, I work really hard. I'm good at problem solving. I have a can-do positive growth mentality. Yes, I don't have the skills, but I'm willing to learn the skills. Just show me where to learn them, right? And that's the same realization I had. So on that level, I can relate because I didn't have a background in this at all. But when I made that transition and that flip, that switch flipped in my mind, and I realized, oh, it's just a mindset shift here. I just need to be willing to go and find the answers now. What's stopping me from achieving success and results with this? So I think it's the exact same thing, whether you're discovering the methods that you would never have come into contact with previously through your friends and family and work colleague circles through a podcast like ours. You could now go back and listen to the whole back catalogue of this podcast, right back to episode 1 or episode 0, or if you want a fast track and you want to really kind of jump into it and you want someone to guide you through, hold your hand, get the business up and running, you can work with us to do that at Dropship Unlocked as well. So there's kind of like every step, there's the free podcast, YouTube video method that you can just absorb content until you're ready to take that jump. And then obviously there's the point where if you're ready to invest in yourself and you really want to take it seriously, then there are mentorship programs that you can jump into with like-minded people already achieving the thing that you're setting out to achieve. So I just think if you feel that your time has come to get off the building site and you're ready to do that, then you can start building a site of your own, start building your e-commerce site.
A different kind of site entirely, but absolutely. The mindset is so transferable. So even though the skills aren't there, the can-do attitude, the hard work ethic, the ability to learn new skills frequently. Also speaking with customers, if you're self-employed and you have to go out and speak to customers and find work, you've got very good people skills, able to sell to people as well. That's all transferable. So although you don't have the specific skills, they can be learned through podcasts, YouTube, mentorship programs. That can come. It's the mindset that really is ingrained, and that's what will push you through. Absolutely. So I have some tradespeople in my family, and I hear these sort of complaints, absolutely justified complaints, that you get to a certain age and your body starts to feel the effects. And there's only so many winters that you can go through the outside work and really until it starts to take a big toll. And also something that really struck with me is a complaint that I've heard from people in the trades is that their income and their earning is completely tied to their health. So if they're ill or if they're injured or if they're off work for any reason, suddenly the money can dry up, unless you're employed, of course. But if you're self-employed, you're completely reliant on your body every day to get up and start working for you to earn. Whereas if you're in a business and you run an online dropshipping business, you can set it up as a machine. So whether you're ill, injured, unable to work, it can still work without you, and you don't have to stop earning when you're not able to work. So it makes a lot of sense, some of the different complaints and the difficulties that people have. But what I want to know more, Lewis, is why do you think people are specifically choosing dropshipping?
Yeah, well, to come in quickly on the point that you mentioned there about having a contingency if ever you get ill, I think that's one of my personal motivators, fears, drivers, whatever you want to call it, that I think to myself, what happens if I become incapacitated? What if I can't work anymore? Like, God forbid, I look after my health. I try to eat healthily. I exercise a lot. I try and keep my stress low, but you never know what's around the corner, right? Something could happen at any moment. And, you put the right insurances in place. You try to protect your family. But I have dependents now. I've got 2 children. I've got a wife. Like, I've got to make sure that they're okay if anything were to happen to me. And so the way that I've set up these businesses and the way that I'd advise you do as well, if you're starting to see success and results with online businesses, is you want to put like legacy plans in place and contingency plans in place so that if anything did happen to you and like for some reason for 6 months you were unable to do anything or log in and, imagine you just couldn't interact with the business, can everything still continue without you? At a baseline level, of course, it's not going to continue to grow at the level if you were involved, but I just think that's a really interesting thought exercise to challenge yourself on, because it forces you to think about things slightly differently and put contingencies in place and make sure that, you can have automations that are like, if I haven't logged in for 30 days, send an email to my wife that gives her access to the right things that then she can log in and take the reins and have a video there that's like, hey, if you're watching this, then something bad might have happened, but here's how we deal with it. So I know it's slightly off topic, but I thought it was a really interesting point to raise because not many people want to talk about that stuff. And I think having a legacy plan in place is really important.
Absolutely. And I've tried to replicate the same with my businesses and the work that I do, but very difficult if you are in a job that is completely tied to your skills and your day-to-day time. So I can see why people are looking to create their own business and be able to set things up for life beyond them. And when they start to, if they ever have anything happen to them, it's an important point.
Yeah, definitely. But to your question about why people would be choosing dropshipping specifically as a business model, because obviously there's lots of different business models. I think imagine if you are in the position right now where you're working on building sites, you're in construction, you're in a trade of some kind, or even just a manual labor job, and you're required to be at that job, 7 or 8 a.m. every day, regardless of the weather, in the cold, you're tired, you're physically drained, you're not getting to see your family and friends. You're putting your body at risk. Probably there's usually an element of danger involved in these roles, certainly more danger than just, sitting at your desk and working on a computer. And it starts to take a physical toll on your long-term health, which ultimately is the most important thing, because without that, we have nothing. There's no point having a great business if you don't have your long-term health. So I can totally see why people would get to that point where they realize, hang on a sec, there's a threshold here of like, when my body starts to deteriorate, I'm on the wrong path. I want to now change. Now is the moment to do that. And so I think the alternative is being willing to switch and saying, okay, I'm not going to just use my body here to try to earn an income, but if I can use my mind to create that higher income and divert the energy that I would have expended on physical labor through to mental labor to form a system that can allow me to then earn an income from a laptop where I can be, or even a phone on the other side of the planet in a warmer country, sitting by the pool with my friends, family, children, whatever, you can see why people are picking it, right? And I think there are so many different online business models, because you could in theory say that about any online business model, but with the home turf advantage model of high ticket domestic dropshipping, the nice thing is it's tangible and you're building a long-term sustainable brand that you can be proud of, that you can stand behind and be happy and proud to tell your friends about. Because I think it's not so much of a jump for people who've maybe come from a completely non-e-commerce related background to start selling tangible physical products online. We're not saying like, okay, you need to create this web of like affiliate websites, and then you have like all these affiliate partner portals, and then you have to like log your conversion clicks and make sure that you've got an attribution model set up to, and it's like, that's overwhelming for somebody who has never earned a penny online before. But if you say, oh, you're basically making a shop on a website and you sell products and they go to people's houses. It's like, oh, I can get my head around that. As a starting point, I'm not saying you stop there. Of course, if you want to then create other online businesses later, then great. But as a gateway business model to the online world, I don't think there's anything that beats it, because you don't have huge barriers to entry. You're not having to invest huge amounts of money up front. You don't need to hold any inventory. So it's not like FBA or Amazon, fulfilled by Amazon. You don't have to ever carry stock or worry about storage or, shipping items to warehouses or anything like that. Your supplier does all of that. You have complete location and time flexibility, which obviously is important if you're trying to transition out of somewhere that demands that you're in one place for a certain duration of your life every day. And yeah, you can operate that business from anywhere in the world. So I just think that it's worth viewing it that it's not necessarily easier than traditional work. It's just difficult in a different way. You're trading one set of challenges for another. So I don't want to paint the picture that it's a walk in the park. It's not, but it's definitely more of a mental energy expenditure than it is physical, which doesn't have such a long-term effect on your body, assuming you manage your stress well and follow a path that is going to get you up and running and you don't get extremely frustrated by it, which is what we try and lay out for you in our program.